I feel like making pizza, but I don't have any toppings, so I'm gonna go forage some. Let's get wild. I almost forgot. We can't get wild until we make some pizza dough. We'll let that yeast bloom for a couple minutes. Now we'll just add in our other ingredients, flour, salt, and some oil. All right, so here's what I'm thinking for this pizza. It's spring foraging right now in Colorado. That means limited mushrooms, maybe some oysters, maybe some morels, likely some wild asparagus, which is delicious, and then a lot of spring greens. So instead of using a red sauce for the base, I'm thinking I'll make a pesto and then top it with any mushrooms I find, maybe some asparagus, and anything else. Let's go see what we can find. This plant here is stinging nettle, Urtica dioica. It's one of my favorite edible greens, and it'll go great with our pizza, whether on pesto or just as a topping. I found our next pizza topping. Can you see it right there? Oyster mushrooms. This is Pleurotus pulmonarius. Pulmonarius for their lung-shaped caps. Here in Colorado, they like to grow off of dead cottonwoods, which is what this is. These have a lovely, mild, mushroomy flavor with a really great texture. They'll be really good on our pizza. Have you ever had asparagus on pizza? This here is wild asparagus. Technically it's feral asparagus because it's escaped from cultivation and naturalized in much of North America. It can actually be found in all of the lower 48 states, but it is the exact same species and plant as grocery store asparagus. Here in this floodplain that I'm in, there's hundreds of plants, so I'll just collect enough for the pizza, and for a couple other meals, we'll be ready. This little plant is a perfect herb for our pizza. This is wild bee balm, Monarda fistulosa. It's in the mint family and has a lovely oregano flavor with a little bit of minty citrusiness. It's really nice, and I use it to replace oregano in a lot of my cooking. Let's pick some. It's starting to rain and thunder, but I found one more plant that I want to make sure to include in our pizza. This here is a non-native, highly invasive plant called garlic mustard. It's not quite as invasive here in Colorado as it is in some of the Midwestern and Eastern states, but it takes over some areas there. It has a really nice garlicky mustard flavor, and it makes a great pesto, which is how we'll be using it for our pizza. We're back in the kitchen. Got all of our forage toppings here. The dough has rested overnight, and I've also prepped some non-forage toppings for us to use as well. We're gonna make two pizzas. The first will be a garlic mustard and nettle pesto base. The second pizza will be a standard red sauce with some of these various toppings. But before I do anything, I'm gonna turn on the oven with our pizza steel, and then we can make these pizzas. Our garlic mustard, nettles, some basil, and some bee balm. Lemon juice, and I'm gonna stream in oil while this purees. Some nuts, and garlic, salt and pepper, some Parmesan cheese. Let's get these oyster mushrooms sliced up nice and thin. I cut away some of the dirty and buggy spots. Now the asparagus. Pesto pizza's out of the oven. I'm gonna top it with a little torn bee balm. Parmesan. While the first pizza was cooking, I prepped the second crust just by hand and it turned out much better. So that's the right way to do it, obviously. Chili flakes and some nettles, just roughly chopped. Let's give this one a try. So stinging nettle, garlic mustard, bee balm, and basil pesto with oyster mushrooms, asparagus, onions, bee balm, and parmesan on top. That thin crust is so good. Very fresh pizza. Very green and pesto-y and asparagus-y. Really good. Two finished foraged pizzas. I already ate half of this one because I was starving and I had to wait for this one to cook. Let's give this one a try. That nettle on top got nice and crispy. I can definitely taste and feel the difference between this dough and this dough. This one has more air pockets and it's a little thicker compared to the one that I rolled, which is a little thinner and flatter. They're both really good. Just depends on what you're going for. I personally like the really thin crust, but this one is also really good. So, which one of these would you want to try? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, if you'd like to learn more about foraging and maybe how to make your own wild pizzas, check out this video where I talk about how to use foraging books to become better foragers. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna eat too much pizza.